Welcome back to another episode of Better Than I Found It, the podcast all things college golf. You're listening to Mike McGraw, the men's golf coach at Baylor University. Today's very special guest is former Baylor Golf All-American Kyle Jones. Now, Kyle, who has played professional golf for right at 9 years, recently joined our staff as an assistant golf coach here at Baylor. In this episode, Kyle and I talk about his journey as a player, becoming a husband and a father, as well as his decision to end his playing career. Kyle, in my opinion, was a master at maximizing what God gave him, and I think you'll really like his story. Enjoy the listening. Okay, Better Than I Found It listeners, very special guest today on Better Than I Found It, former Baylor Golf All-American and newly hired second assistant coach at Baylor, Kyle Jones. Kyle, it's awesome to have you back in Waco.
I didn't think I'd be back, but here I am. You got me back.
I did. I didn't recruit you initially because I was at Oklahoma State.
You did not recruit me.
I did not, sorry. But I didn't normally go to Snowflake, Arizona to make recruiting trips. That's not a destination. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, you are the only tour player that's ever lived in Snowflake, Arizona.
That is true.
Okay. So I didn't recruit you initially, but I did recruit you when we needed an assistant coach. So
You did. I think you learned from your mistakes.
Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, it's good to have you back in Waco. I really think this is great. Now, both of my assistant coaches were All-Americans at Baylor. Jeremy was an All-American in 2005, and you were an All-American in 2014 and 15.
Yeah.
Before we talk about, what brought you back to Baylor and what got you into coaching from the playing world where you were playing professional golf, I'm going to talk about the first day I saw you.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So obviously I didn't recruit you out of high school. You were a freshman at Baylor. It was 2012. One of your teammates, Joachim Mikkelsen, won the conference championship at Whispering Pines. But I walked with you. You were playing with Ian Davis, one of my walk-on golfers at Oklahoma State. And interestingly enough, as it would happen, Ian got his PGA Korn Ferry Tour card the same day you did.
Yep.
And he was a walk-on. You were not a walk-on at Baylor, but I saw you. I was walking with Ian, and you were in the group that day, and I thought, he doesn't hit it very far, but man, he hits it straight. You remember that day?
I do remember that day.
Yeah, how'd you play that day? I don't remember the score.
I don't remember the score either. But, being a freshman, you're still just trying to kind of make your way. And honestly, that was a long time ago, too, so I don't remember how I played
It was another round that week. Ian played with Mikkel, Bjerch-Andresen, who was also a freshman, and your roommate that year.
Yep.
And I looked across there, I thought it was Henrik Stenson standing on the tee. The guy was huge.
He's a pretty tall guy.
He's a tall guy, but man, he could hit it in those days. It was impressive.
And you made him an assistant coach, too.
And I made him an assistant coach, too. A lot of people say, well, you're keeping it in the family. Well, yeah, sort of. It's great when you can have somebody who cut his teeth, college golf speaking wise at the university, can speak to it. So before we get in, we're going to talk about that in a minute, why you feel that pride of coming back to Baylor. But let's talk about your playing days. You played 4 years at Baylor, and you played for Coach Greg Priest the first 3, and then me your senior year. You had a very, very good run. You were twice an All-American. What about the experience at Baylor was great for you? I mean, that would even lend you to think you'd want to come back again as an assistant coach.
I think, honestly, and this is from my recruiting trip too, I just felt a really good energy here. And to me, that was important. And you know what? The campus, everything, I know the school is really good, and that was important to me and my parents. And honestly, it was kind of a late decision. I kind of got into the recruiting game late.
I have a question. Arizona and Arizona State, how did they let you out of the state? Because you were a good player. How did they let you out of the state?
Honestly, I never even talked to University of Arizona. Never had an email, nothing like that. And then Arizona State at the time was Coach Line. I did talk with him quite a bit.
Really nice guy, by the way.
Through our emails, everything was good, but when it came time to maybe taking a visit around campus or anything like that, I just kind of felt like I was pushed aside a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty clear, like, he was after international players.
He had some good ones.
He did. He did have some good ones. John Rahm's pretty good.
Yeah.
But kind of that energy I was talking about, I did not feel that there.
Okay.
I would have loved to play at home, but,
Yeah, absolutely. So looking back on it, you got to Baylor, and it was a different day and age in those times. I mean,
it was.
We had our facility at that time was at Twin Rivers Golf Course, which is now Bear Ridge, and you had to drive about 20 minutes.
Yep.
They had a range with one tee box going one direction,
Yep.
Artificial greens. I mean, it was a place to practice, but it's a little different than what we have now, right?
Oh, it is completely different. We had kind of range balls that you would find at your local Muni golf course. Mm-hmm. So
Yep.
range balls weren't great. But you know what? Being a freshman, I never even thought about that. I just kind of thought of, just putting in the work and, traveling. That was the goal.
Well, you say that, and that's a good example. Lee Trevino won 6 majors, literally hitting balls at Tennyson Park is where he practiced and played. And it was like, you can literally, and I had an All-American at Oklahoma State, Trent Whitekiller, who grew up and Trent from mini tour events, but Trent grew up in Sallisaw, Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. His parents, at the time when he was in high school, when I was recruiting him, lived in a double-wide trailer, and his driving range was hitting balls from the yard over the road into a cow pasture. And he ended up being an All-American at Oklahoma State. So I don't think you have to have facilities.
You definitely don't.
Yeah, but it's nice when you do.
It's nice when you do, especially when you come from a place where you didn't and now you do. I think you appreciate it more, and I think it tends to maybe take advantage more of that.
Yeah, I think so. And I think what facilities do show, and we've got really good ones here at Baylor, but it shows commitment to trying to be the best you can be.
Yep.
But I know this, I'll never forget this. J.T. Higgins had just gotten the job at Texas A&M. They really didn't have a practice area, didn't have much to go with, and he called Mike Holder, and Mike let him come up to Stillwater. He toured everything we had at the time, and JT just looked at Mike and said, I've got to build something like this. If we're going to have a great program, I've got to build something like that. He said, I agree. You should build some facilities and you should show the commitment. But he looked at JT and he said, listen, the kids who are going to practice hard with no facility are the same kids that are going to practice hard with a facility.
Very true.
And the kids who are lazy are not going to use the new facility you build them. So don't get in the trap that the facilities will bring about success in and of themselves. No. You still have to go out and recruit kids that are going to do that. But it's interesting. I think one of the most interesting stories of my coaching career involves you. And it was the first day I was on campus. After that hour and 45-minute meeting that we had,
yes.
What was the best thing you got out of that meeting? Remind me.
You made it to where I didn't have to shave every day. And from that moment on, I was sold on you.
You liked Mike McGraw at that time.
I did like Mike McGraw.
I had the rules that Greg Priest had left me, and they were good rules. They were solid.
No, they were fine.
They were fine. But one of them says you had to be clean shaven, you couldn't grow a beard. And I had learned over time that, to me, facial hair, long hair, facial hair, none of those things really make you a good person or a bad person.
Yep.
And so in that meeting, I'd highlighted that one rule, and I didn't know if you understood what I was doing, but I'll never forget the smile on your face when I said, guys, as long as it's a neat beard, you may have a beard on my golf team, and you just got this big, you just lit up immediately.
Honestly, I don't think I've been clean shaving since my junior year of college.
Okay.
I think I've always had something.
Okay, and I'm okay with it. And it didn't keep you from playing pro golf.
No.
Didn't make you a worse person or a better person. It was just a beard, and you enjoy the beard.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy a beard, so I shave every day. But anyway, so the point being, a young coach listening to this, don't get too wrapped up in hair and facial hair and beards. It's like, that's not really going to tell me I want to know what kind of kid I've got on my hands. And
sure.
It's interesting, the very first day of practice, so the next day after that long meeting, so you guys are kind of excited, got this new coach, it's a different coach, he's probably going to be different, all that.
We kind of thought you were going to be mean a little bit.
Yes, you did. You thought I was going to be really mean. And I've got a mean streak in me, but I think you misread me is what I think.
Yes, I think so.
So you stand on the first tee at Ridgewood Country Club. We're not playing a qualifying. This is just a round of golf. It's 100 degrees. And I saw you pull out a brand new golf glove. Mm-hmm. And you put on it, you pulled a Velcro across, you took out a Sharpie, and you signed your name. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's kind of odd. Signed his glove? Okay. Well, you played that deal. And we played several days there of just golf leading up to the first qualifying round.
Yep.
The next week, we played the first qualifying round. Your glove had sweated out that week. You brought out a brand new one, pulled the Velcro across, took out the Sharpie, and signed it again. And I thought to myself, this Kyle, he's supposed to be a really good player. He was an All-American last year, but he's signing gloves for imaginary kids that aren't even in his gallery. So I thought to myself, he's kind of a different guy.
Yeah, what's wrong with this guy?
So I waited until after the qualifying round, and I said, Kyle, and so I'm going to let you tell the reason, but I'm going to say, Kyle, why in the world do you sign your glove, every new glove? And you told me what?
Kind of just young golfer mistakes, just getting wrapped up in other players you want to be like, other areas of their games that you want to kind of shape your game towards.
So this is probably your freshman year, correct?
Freshman, sophomore. Mm-hmm. As you mentioned earlier, I wasn't the longest hitter, and I still am not. But I tried. I tried really hard to gain distance, and I noticed that started taking away from the things I did well, like my accuracy off the tee.
Short game, probably.
Short game, too. Yeah, because I spent more time on the range trying to, generate that. And I was trying to do it all by myself. If I was smart, and honestly, and we'll talk about this later, but just the things that we have here now, if we had back then, I think it would have been a little different. I would have approached it differently. All
you noticed was in qualifying, you got outdriven by pretty much every other team.
Yep.
When you played in tournaments, pretty much your two playing partners every time hit the ball further than you, and sometimes a lot further, correct?
Yeah.
So you were telling me that, and you were saying, finish that.
Yeah, so it got to a point where I started noticing a change in my scoring, and I wasn't playing as good, and, it just kind of hit me one night, and I was like, you know what? And it kind of just boiled down to, I need to play my own game.
Kyle Jones golf?
Kyle Jones golf. And so I started signing my glove just as a reminder, you know what? You're Kyle Jones. This is your golf game. Play it. Do what you do good. And honestly, hitting the ball far was not something I did very good, but I did other things very well. And so basically that's all that was. It was a mental reminder every day of, just playing my own game.
Okay, so when you told me that after that first qualifying round, I was stunned because to me that was, and I included that in my book Better Than I Found It, because it was like this kid realized this desire for extra yards and then the neglecting of all the other aspects of his game actually made you a worse player.
Oh, it did.
And the things you did well, you neglected, and they became average.
Yep.
And you became average.
Yep.
And it was like, that's not how you become better. You take the strengths you have and make them absolutely the best they can be, and you don't try to be other golfers. No. We all get trapped in this. I tell young coaches, don't try to be like me. Mm-hmm. Pick the things you think that are valuable that I can teach you, but you don't want to be me.
Yeah.
And you got to be your own self. And that was one of my greatest goals as a young head coach at Oklahoma State, was to not be Mike Holder.
Yeah.
He taught me a million things that made me a better coach, but I couldn't fake being his personality. I couldn't do it. And you couldn't try to be a guy that hit at 320.
Yeah.
We just graduated a kid named Johnny Kiefer who's playing, he was a 3-time All-American here at Baylor. He's playing really well on the PGA Tour the PGA Tour Americas. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're never going to hit a drive like Johnny Kiefer can hit a drive. He carries it 320, 330.
I know.
That's beautiful. It is a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
But you've got some strengths in your game that Johnny needs to work on, that he's not as good as you are. Yeah. That's why you were able to put up pro golf. But when you said you signed your glove because you wanted to play Kyle Jones golf and not anybody else's golf, I thought that was brilliant. I've told that story 100 times to either young players or other young coaches or whatever. And you just stumbled across that with your own idea, right?
Yeah. You know what's funny too is over the years of playing, I've had players, I've had spectators come, and they ask me to see my glove, to see if I still sign my glove.
Yeah.
And I think it really disappoints them that I stopped doing that. But I told them, I was like, okay, after, for so long.
I know who I am.
I know who I am. Yeah. So, yeah, I think they're actually disappointed when I tell them I don't sign my glove anymore.
Well, but you did do it to become a player, and signing your glove was part of what got you into professional golf, and you eventually got a Korn Ferry card and a PGA Tour card.
Yep.
Because you played Kyle Jones golf and nobody else's golf.
Yep.
There was another thing. That year, we had a great fall. We played beautifully. I think we were ranked about 8th or 9th in the country your senior year. And in the spring, we started off pretty good and won maybe Laredo, or maybe we won San Antonio. We won another tournament. So we were still off to a good start. We played really poorly in Cabo, and I think we finished 7th.
Yeah.
You played well, like you might have finished 3rd. By the way, most people don't know this. You averaged 3.85. Your finish was better than 4th in 13 tournaments that year.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I only won one.
And you only won one golf tournament in San Antonio, but your game was so consistent. You played so well all the time, and it was so obvious to every guy on the team. It was so obvious to the coaches. You were our best player. You didn't talk about it. No. You just went about your business. You were quiet, understated. This is my golf. I'm going to go play. And I never forget after that tournament in Cabo, we were going to spend one more night and then fly back. And I had a team meeting, and I know this made you feel uncomfortable, and it made everybody else feel uncomfortable too. But the big elephant in the room was you were by far the best player, and you had another good tournament, even though your teammates did not. And so I basically opened up the team meeting with this. I said, Kyle Jones, good playing this week. Why are you our best player? Why are you the best player in this room? And you're going, oh my gosh, coach.
You put me on the spot.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You can't make me. These are my teammates. And I said, okay, I know that's a hard question to answer, so let me put it another way. You have a lot of skills that make you into a really good player. What do you do? And I'm going to give an example. We had this practice round recently, and it was a dogleg left to right. Mm-hmm. And there was trees deep, the right. If you hit it in the right, you're going to have to chip out.
Yeah.
But it dogleg left to right. And your 4 teammates all tried to hit cut shots. Mm-hmm. 2 of them overcut it into the dogleg dead, and 2 of them double crossed it into the trees on the left. And all you did was do what?
Straight down the middle.
Straight down the middle. So you said something in that meeting. I don't know if you remember it, so I'll say it, and then maybe you can elaborate. You said, yeah, well, Coach, you're right. I mean, I just find out where I want the ball to finish, and I hit the ball really straight, so I just kind of aim where I want it to finish.
Yeah.
And I don't shape a ball the direction of the hole. I figure out how to get that ball to that spot and then play the hole from there. Is that sort of how simple it was for you?
It was. It was just to the point, my mind, the way my eyes were on the golf course, I never saw the ball curving a lot. Even on dog legs, even to tuck pins. In my mind, it was simpler to just pick that target. If it was a tucked pin on the right, to pick that target 10 feet left of that pin and just fire right there.
You didn't turn the ball much. You didn't cut it. You didn't draw it. You basically hit straight shots.
Yeah, but it was important to me to know how if I ever needed to, and I could, but I didn't like it. It's not how I viewed the golf course, and I understand people are different, and some people do like to work the ball.
Well, and that's okay too.
That's great.
But the best way to get in that fairway on that hole was to hit to that spot. Now, if a guy's going to hit a cut shot, he cuts it to that spot.
Yeah.
If he's going to hit a draw, he starts it down the right side and draws it to that spot. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
But I said something else in the meeting that really upset some guys on the team. And one of them asked me about it afterwards. I won't say his name. But I said, guys, that's good explanation Kyle just gave you about how he plays that dogleg left to right. But here's the thing. Kyle hits a hybrid closer than you guys hit a 5-iron. And he hits a 5-iron closer than you hit a wedge. I think you should listen to what he's saying. And so everybody got quiet. It was very uncomfortable, pretty awkward meeting, honestly. And after the meeting, we broke up and everybody went back to their rooms. And one of the kids came to me and said, Coach, does Kyle really hit a hybrid closer than my 5-iron? I said, probably not, but he thinks he does.
Yeah.
So he's pretty good at that.
He wasn't happy with that.
He was not happy with that. But essentially I tried to, with that explanation in front of your teammates, I tried to explain to the guys, it's not rocket science.
No.
It's not that difficult. And Kyle simplifies the game. He can hit it left to right, and he can hit it right to left, but he hits it pretty straight. So that's what he does. He aims where he wants to go. And he doesn't try to curve the ball the shape of the hole. It's like you over curve it, you're in the dog leg.
Yeah.
If you're afraid of over, you're probably gonna double cross. And so anyway, but he was upset that I thought that you actually had a 5-iron closer than his wedge. Now I would argue that you probably did.
I think I did.
Yeah, I think you did. You were really accurate. But you know what? Kyle Jones signed his glove in college, and as a young professional, all he did was find out what he was good at, and it got him on the tour. If you had tried to be somebody else, you would have played. You'd have been an assistant coach much, much, much younger.
Yes.
Because you would not have played golf for 9 years in pro golf. Let's talk about that career. So before we finished at Gold Mountain, I think it was, for our regional up in Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we just missed out, finished 6th, didn't make regionals, so you weren't going to get to play. You never got to play in the national championship, which I think is a crime. It's a crime.
It's brutal.
It is brutal.
I don't even know what it's like.
Well, and so I will tell a story before we talk about when you turned pro and how that all came about. But the next year, we were at regionals up in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. And you had some of your former teammates. One of them was Andreas Yesteby.
Yeah.
He may have been the only guy on the team that played with you. He was, yeah, I think so. And I talked to him about that meeting we had after regionals your senior year, and you got emotional. Yeah. Because you guys wanted to make nationals so bad. We had a good team. We were ranked 18th in the country. Yeah. We were the highest ranked team that didn't make it to nationals, and we should have been there. Yeah. And I think it cost you first team All-American because you didn't get to play at nationals. They put you on the second team, and all of that to say, in that meeting at Wisconsin, we were in 6th place going into the final round. And I told the story about, because only Andreas had seen you in that meeting that we had after the regionals. And we talked, got really emotional. And I told the guys in that meeting, let's win this let's qualify tomorrow for Kyle. Kyle should have played nationals. He never got to. We're doing it tomorrow. And when people 25 years from now say, when did Baylor Golf become Baylor Golf? They'll point to this moment in time. And the next day, they were still in 6th place after 10 holes. And they made 18 birdies in the last 8 holes and finished 3rd.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it was just an amazing finish. They got all emotional on the 18th green. Matthew Prime made a 40-footer to shoot 30 on the last 9. I mean, Hunter Shattuck shot 2 under par, and it was the worst 9 holes that anybody shot that day for our team. So it was great. But I was able to use kind of your heartbreak and disappointment kind of in a team meeting, like, let's not do that. Andreas, you're finally going to go to nationals because of tomorrow. Yeah. Andreas was very emotional. He got to. So anyway, you had a great career. You were second team All-American and an honorable mention another year. Yeah. And you knew you were going to play pro golf. Yeah. So I want to tell a story too.
Yeah, I love your stories.
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
Thank you. Well, that summer you had played some mini tour events, some APT events. I don't think you'd made much money. I think you made $5,000 in one tournament.
Actually, that summer I just played amateur tournaments because I was trying to make Walker Cup that year.
Gotcha. Well, regardless, you didn't have the cash to go to tour school. And
I did not.
I think it was $5,000 or $6,000, whatever it was. Yeah. And so you came to me and said, what are your ideas? I've got to turn this in 2 or 3 weeks. And I said, well, let me talk. So I called a very, very wonderful man, one of our donors. I won't say his name right now just because I don't want to bring that out, but he's a wonderful guy. And I told him your predicament, and he said, where do I write the check? Yeah. And he did that. So it was amazing that, and you asked me to caddy for you at tour school that fall.
I did.
And so I want to talk about that real quick. So I'm pretty excited. We're down in Florida at tour school, and we're going to go out and play 18 holes. And you shot 41 that first 9.
Yeah.
It was ugly. And it was. Yeah. I just put my arm around you and said, Kyle, we need to go to the range.
We need to go figure something out here.
And you did, and you breezed right through the qualifying, with the exception of a mistake I made on the 17th hole.
Yeah, which I didn't even know was your mistake until a couple days ago.
It was my mistake. Tell the people what happened.
I think you need to tell because I didn't even know about
it. We're on this par 3. It's over water, and you know the bear trap down there at PGA National. It's just like really can get hard when the wind's blowing. And to this day, it wasn't blowing that hard. It was not really.
I would say probably 15 mile an hour.
Maybe 15, but it was not going to play that tough. And
it was enough to make a difference.
You got over the ball, and I knew it was the wrong club. And I just knew he's got to crush this. And I can't believe I've got that club in his hand. And I didn't stop you. And you're posing. You hit this perfect shot and you're posing. Hits on the front lip and comes down into the water. And you made double bogey.
I did.
And I'm thinking to myself, okay, Mike, if you cost this kid getting his Korn Ferry card with that decision. And so anyway, I think you birdied the last hole, and you end up making it by a shot or two.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell you how nervous I was walking up 18, but I was scared to death.
I could see it on your face. I could see it on your face when I made that putt on 18.
Yeah. So
the look on your face told me that we did not make it. And I'm looking at the leaderboard. I'm like, Coach, we made it. Yeah. Like, smile. It's okay.
I was just so concerned that I just cost this guy his tour card, but it didn't. And we celebrated that night. It was wonderful.
Great.
And so you had your Korn Ferry card that first year.
Yeah.
Let's go through a little bit of genesis. I want to get you to Baylor, eventually back to Baylor.
Yeah.
But let's talk about your pro career, because you played pro golf for 9 years. That's not easy to do, and through a COVID as well. But go ahead. That first year you played mini tours, and we got to tour school, and then you got your card.
Yeah.
Korn Ferry in 2016.
Yep. Yeah. Honestly, I'm going to go back to fall of 2015 really quick. So, that donor helped me out with Q School, which is huge. When I think you told me that he was going to do that, I was in shock because, I never thought somebody would ever do that for somebody else. And I was just blown away and incredibly grateful. And I think it drove me even more to make it worth it. So in order to get ready for Q School, I was still taking classes here.
I remember that, to get your degree. That's right.
Yeah. Because I switched majors.
Yeah, I remember thinking I was telling Ryan Blagg, my assistant, how many guys are going to tour school next week that have finals as well? not a lot.
The good thing was, the only class I had to do was I had to finish a language. So I only had Spanish that fall. So it made it easier on me. But yeah, I played one mini tour event to get ready for Q School, and at that point, I had to have help for Q School. I didn't have money because to play a mini tour, it's not cheap.
Yeah,
I mean it's probably about $1,000. So my agent, Mike Chisholm,
great guy.
Oh, he's beautiful guy. He actually loaned me the money
That's a heck of an agent, right there.
I know, right? The guy he just signed too. So, no, he paid for my entry fee that week, and I actually won.
Is that the way you won $5,000?
That's where I won $5,000, and I thought I was the richest guy in the world, even after I paid him back the $1,000. So I did that, got through Q School. I think Q School I made another $10,000, and I probably had another 15 or so from Ping and Titleist.
And Titleist gave you a little bit,
and that
kind of got you through the first part of Korn Ferry, didn't it?
That was all my funding for kind of to start off the year.
Well, to be honest, it's kind of still a miracle that a kid from Snowflake, Arizona was even in that spot. I mean, if you think about it.
I know.
You didn't come to school with a bunch of money in your pockets.
No, I didn't.
You didn't even leave with a bunch of money in your pockets.
No.
You had a degree, though, and thankfully you got a degree at Baylor. But but you get to play Korn Ferry in 2016. Describe that first year. You eventually get your PGA Tour card for a year, but let's talk about the first year.
We had to work at it. Yeah. That first year was it was a grind for sure. I think it was a big adjustment year, a big learning curve. And we've kind of talked about it the last couple of days, but college golf, if you shoot 2 under par every day, you're an All-American. Korn Ferry, the courses they play, the type of competition that's out there, if you shoot 2 under par every round, you miss the cut.
Yeah, 4 under par doesn't really make the cut anymore.
No.
It's 5 or 6 or 7.
Yeah. So that was a big learning curve for me, and sadly that year, I had a couple decent finishes, but I lost my card. So I had to go back to Q School that fall, and I missed final stage by a couple shots. I think I did.
So now you're relegated to playing the APT, which is a great tour, by the way.
Tour.
Yeah, it's a great tour.
But I got done with Q School that year, and I kind of thought about, what do I need to change? What do I need to do to kind of compete on that level if I want to get back there? And that's kind of where I went to the APT. I'm like, I need to learn how to shoot low. I need to learn how, when you get to 3 under, how to get to 5. When you get to 5, how to get to 7, and really kind of take advantage like that. And that's what the APT did for me that year.
I do remember you shooting 26 under par one time and losing to a guy who shot 27 under par. Brownwood, I think it was. My goodness.
I think I shot, 23 or 24. I took third. Sam Burns clipped me, and I think another player clipped me.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, if you can't learn to shoot that low, like I'm watching Johnny Kiefer this summer. He's played in 7 events.
Yeah.
He's 127 under par.
Yeah.
He's number 2 on the list. He didn't get to play the first 6 tournaments. He's learning to shoot low right now, and that's going to benefit him greatly when he goes to Korn
It's a
Ferry.
beautiful thing.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
So 2017 was APT pretty much the whole year.
It was.
I think you've made about $50,000 on that tour that year.
I think it was close to 60.
Okay,
which for a mini tour was
that's a bunch.
Fantastic. I think I finished second 3 times that year. Had a lot of good scores, but anytime I shot 23 or 24 under par, there was always somebody at 25. So, it wasn't as much of a bummer for me not to win that year because I knew I was playing good golf. And you can't control if somebody goes out and shoots a crazy low number. Good for them. But it was that whole year that prepared me for Q School again in 2017 fall and for the next year on Korn Ferry.
Okay, so you get your Q School in fall of 17. You play in 2018, and I think you were 11th on the money list that year?
Yep.
And that's what got your PGA Tour card.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about the one time on that PGA Tour year where everybody that was great in golf was there, and that was at Riviera in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That was an interesting week for you because there were rain delays.
The weather was awful.
The weather was awful, and you were paired with Rory and Jordan, and you end up playing with the second and third round with them because of rain delays. You had to play
third or fourth.
Third and fourth.
Yep.
Okay, but regardless, you played with a couple of pretty good players right there.
Yeah.
You told me this the other day, but you said, "Wow, Rory, it does look different when he hits a golf ball."
It does. Yeah, it was crazy because Saturday we were delayed. I think there was storms Thursday night into Friday morning, so we were delayed like crazy. So I finished my second round mid-afternoon on Saturday. And so I go in, I sign my scorecard, and the official there is like, I kind of knew him from Korn Ferry and everything like that. And he kind of just looked at me, he was smiling. He's like, you got 30 minutes to get something to eat, and you're playing with Rory. So good luck with that. So, I mean, immediately my heart just kind of started pumping, and I got really excited and nervous and, all the emotions.
Held your own for quite a while until late in the last round, I think.
No. So we played 3 holes Saturday evening. So we had to play 33 holes on Sunday. And you know what? It was such a cool experience. I mean, Rory, you watch him on TV, he's impressive, but man, being able to play that much golf with him, it's just something to watch. Did
you sign your glove that day so you didn't try to play Rory golf?
No, but you want to know a funny story? So on our scoring sign, it says Roy McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, and there at the bottom it said K. Jones.
Kent Jones is what they thought, I bet.
No. They we were walking from 3 to 4. We were walking from 3 to 4, and it's a little bit of a walk through the crowd. And obviously, Tiger's playing pretty well, so everyone's kind of excited about that. He was kind of around the same area of the golf course that we were, so there was a lot of people.
That was the beginning of the year that he actually won the Tour Championship.
Yeah.
So he was starting to play some great golf.
Yeah, and everybody was excited. He was playing with DJ, so, there were so many people. And we were walking, and I heard this guy. I think there was some alcohol involved, but he yelled out, who the heck is Ken or K. Jones? And I think another guy yelled out, I think his name's Kevin. So that kind of put me in my place really quick. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
No idea who you were.
No idea. But honestly, again, that day was it was such a pleasure just to watch and play against him that day. And honestly, he was fantastic to me. He talked to me the entire time. He was in contention. We both were to start out, and then he kind of distanced himself from me. But he talked to me the entire time.
Yeah, I think he's been a great ambassador for the game during his time. He's about 15 years into this incredible career, and he's not through. He's still got some great golf in him, for sure. So anyway, you played that year, lost your PGA Tour card, went back to the Korn Ferry, correct, in 2019? Yep. And then we get into, I believe your only victory on the Korn Ferry Tour came during COVID.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep, that's right. So 2020, we played, I think, 4 events up until March, and then that's where we kind of had our 2 or 3 month break, where they can kind of establish their protocols and, do all that kind of stuff. And so we came back. Our first event was in Florida at TPC on the other golf course. I missed the cut there. I go to the next week, and I was the first guy out of the field. So I didn't even have a spot to play that week. So I hung around the golf course all day Thursday. Didn't get a tee time. So I flew home, and I'm kind of thinking all this COVID's happening. I just didn't get into the last tournament. My mind's kind of like, okay, what is going on? And so I look at the commitment sheet, and I look at Utah I had a week off, and then Utah, and I saw I was comfortably in the field. So I was like, you know what? Okay, we're just going to get ready for Utah. And, with COVID and everything, my best buddy, Tyson, back home, he was working for the railroad. He got furloughed because of COVID. And so we kind of just thought, like, hey, you're not working right now. You want to come caddy for me? It'll be a good time. So we go up, and, what's funny is, that week, it didn't go perfectly.
No, it did not.
No. I can't say I had my A game that week, but we figured it out, and we won in a playoff.
It was an amazing week. I was watching it, and I'll never forget this. You pulled it on a par 3, you pulled it left of the green, and it was short side, and it was ugly.
Yeah.
And the commentators basically said,
that's not good.
He's probably going to make bogey here.
Yeah.
And I told Pam, she was watching this with me, and she thought it was cool to watch you on television. And I told her, I said, Pam, I think he chips at gimme. And she said, what's gimme? I said, well, that's really close. And you chipped it about 2.5 to 3 feet, tapped it in for par, and you went on to win that day. And I look back on that, and I thought, you know what? That's just kind of how Kyle played. If he got it in a bad spot, he kind of figured a way to get out. And I think that's how you were able to play pro golf for 9 years.
Yeah. Honestly, other than the 2 putts I made, because I made a 10-footer for par on our first playoff hole, and then I made that 6-footer, 7-footer on our second one to win. But other than those 2, the shot I remember the most was that pitch shot, because it was chipping uphill, and then as soon as it got on the green, it just went straight away.
Yeah, they were saying in 8 or 9 feet would have been a great shot, and it really would have been.
Yeah.
But you chipped it almost gimme, and it was pretty impressive. And you won. That was your first and only win on the Korn Ferry Tour. And then we kind of go through a few more years here, obviously. But before we go on to that, we're going to talk about getting married and all of that, and how you got back to Baylor.
Yeah.
But before that, on that day, one of the commentators on TV had called me, I think it was Steve Burkowski, had called me that morning and said, hey, your player, Kyle's got a chance to win today. What can you say about Kyle? And I told him about signing your glove. I said, I don't know if he's doing it right now, but he did. But I told him when Kyle left college, gosh, I wish you'd had one more year.
I know, right?
but when he left college, I said, Kyle, some people have been given a lot, but you, Kyle, have done a lot with what you've been given.
Yeah.
And Steve Burkowski said that on air, and I thought, gosh, he did listen, because that's true.
Yeah.
And I try to get every young player we have. Some come in with more talent than you had. Some come in with less talent than you. But I try to get everybody to believe everybody comes in with talent.
Yeah.
It's what do you do with that talent?
Yeah.
That's the key. And I think you just did a whole lot with it. Most guys with your skill level, talent, just what God gave you, are probably not going to play professional golf for 9 years. Most of them.
Yeah.
But you did. And I just think that's a wonderful skill to have, is taking what God gave you and maximizing it.
For sure.
Now you got to figure out how to do it as a coach.
Yes.
I'm depending on that.
That's the new challenge right there.
That is the new challenge.
I'm looking forward to it, though.
I know you are. And yesterday you and I went out and watched some guys playing. That was fun. And I think you're kind of easing into this, but you're going to figure out where your place is as a coach, on this. You're going to figure out how you can add value. But before we get to your coaching situation, which we're getting ready to start a meeting tomorrow, before you get to that, you were married to a wonderful gal named Lexi.
I am.
She had a daughter, and you all have had a daughter together, so you're a girl dad twice now.
Yes.
Talk about this life you have now. It's completely different. And that was probably one of your reasons for no longer wanting to play pro golf, I'm sure.
It is, and it's definitely not a bad thing. It's never been a bad thing. I got married to my wife Lexi in March of 2022. We weren't engaged all that long. It was pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of one of those things, like once you find that one, you just kind of know, and but she's been so great. I mean, I kind of just threw her into the, hey, I travel and play golf all the time. I'm never home, but here, stay home with the girl and our other daughter, and basically try to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it was just, she did so good. She was supportive from day one. She's taken care of both of our girls. We've kind of talked, like, it's different when you have a lot of money and you can have your family travel with you and you can have nannies and stuff. And, we didn't have that. We didn't have that luxury, but we made it work. Man, it's just, as soon as that all happened, I think the level that I had for my love of playing professional golf switched, and my priorities switched.
That's going to make you a good daddy.
Yes.
Good husband. Yeah.
Well, and you know what? And I think that's where I've changed. At this point, I'd rather be a good husband and a good father than be a great tour pro.
Well, it's interesting because you called me, I want to say in early June.
Yep.
We'd just gotten back from the national championship, and I hadn't heard from you in a while, and I thought maybe you were going to be coming through Waco and wanted to practice or something. You said, I've been thinking about this. I think I'm probably ready to transition out of playing, and I think I'd like to get into coaching. So if you hear of anything during the summer, just let me know. He said, I may go to tour school, I may not, so you were still up in the air on that.
Yeah, because I still had playing.
Yeah, you had playing to do this summer, and you had privileges. You were a full member of the Korn Ferry Tour.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, about 2 weeks later, Corey Donnell, a wonderful assistant coach that we had hired a year ago, much better situation for him at SMU because his wife wouldn't have to change her job. They could still stay in this wonderful house they're in. He was driving an hour and 10 minutes a day one way for a year. And so this just was a quality of life decision for him. But he told me, I said, well, Corey, I'm supporting that completely. But I need to know the moment you're sure you're going to have that job because I want to call Kyle Jones because Kyle's expressed an interest. And when I called you, it took you about a week to think about, or maybe a couple of weeks to think about it because you had to make things right. Talk about that decision-making process. How'd you end up getting back to Baylor?
Yeah, you're right. I think it was about a week. I told you I'd give you an answer, and every single day of that week for at least an hour, my wife and I talked about it because it was a big life change for us, going from Arizona to Texas. Just it's a lot to uproot and leave, and I guess the big thing was just making sure that it was the right decision for us, and we weighed out every single option we had. But I kept telling her, I'm like, something's telling me this is the right thing to do. And again, like she's always been, she's super supportive. She's like, if that's what you feel, then we're gonna figure it out. And a week later, I told you that I'd take the job. Yeah, and so you started August 5th, I think was your first day, and you just got here a few days ago because of the move that you've had to make. Yeah. Lexi and the girls will be coming out in about 3 weeks to a month. Yep. Yeah, they'll be meeting you out here, and so you've got a lot of things to find a place to live. Yeah, you got some things to do. But so I want to talk about this because you haven't done any recruiting for Baylor yet. Nope. There's a lot of things you have to do to get settled in. Yep. But when you speak to a recruit, I've got to believe you'll be able to speak to what Baylor did for you. Yeah. Talk about how you're going to. This is a great sense of pride coming back to your alma mater. I think it's going to be a very honest conversation just about, how I grew here. And it's not so much like Yeah, when you're a student athlete, we're golfers, we obviously want to better ourselves at the game of golf, right? But it's also, you got to grow as a person and, kind of mature and everything like that. And I think that's what Baylor did for me. It really shaped who I am. And, in every aspect of my life, really. And I think it's just going to be that, one thing where, I feel like you can relate to people. Because you could sit here and be like, hey, come here, come play golf for us. We're going to make you a great golfer. That all sounds great. And this is what I tell people about you. I mean, ever since I met you when you were at Oklahoma State, I've had a lot of respect for you. But the one thing that I've always kind of felt about you is you care about making us better golfers. But the one thing is you make us better people. You make us better men. You teach us respect, not just on the game of golf, but in life, how to kind of walk through life. I think just spending time with somebody, talking with them, I think just incorporating all of that, and that it's not all about golf. Golf's great, but if you incorporate just everything you can learn about life here, you're going to be a better human being.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot to me because that's really what the way I try to coach. But the one thing that made you extremely attractive as an assistant coach was, like Jeremy Alcorn, you'd been an All-American here at Baylor.
Yeah.
But I always liked your demeanor. It was real calm demeanor. And I feel like you'll add to calming a kid down when you're walking with him on the golf course. But also you're going to teach him how to maximize what God gave him.
Yeah.
Because you knew how to do that and you did it personally. And I think that's really, really important. And we don't know what kind of coach you're going to be yet. That's going to evolve as time goes by. But I'm really excited to see what that's going to look like. And I'm throwing you to the wolves. We start qualifying.
Yeah.
This podcast will air on Monday, and we start qualifying on Tuesday. So it's here.
Yeah.
And
I think right now is the big thing for me is just kind of getting to know the guys, kind of learning about their personalities and how best I can, talk to them, communicate with them. Because not everybody's the same. Everybody needs something a little different. And I think I'm just trying to learn about the guys, but kind of going back to what we were talking about before, you and I talked about Scotty Scheffler the other day.
Yep.
And I told you one of the reasons other than just being a gifted golfer, I believe what makes Scotty so successful is his personal life. He has such a healthy personal life. And I think that translates into your golf game, and I think that's a huge part.
The balance that a person needs. I lost that balance at Oklahoma State for a while. I really did, and it became all-consuming. The job became all-consuming, and one of the rules I've had with Ryan Blagg initially, with Mikkel, with Jeremy, and you, and Corey didn't have children, but that you come into the office, you get your kids to daycare, get them to school, whatever it is, and then come into the office. Yeah. Don't sacrifice what they're doing. We could still be great coaches and still have a great family. And the two are not mutually exclusive. So I expect you to be a good father and a good husband while you're here at Baylor.
For sure.
And make those players better, why don't you? Let's make them all good.
Yeah, man. I've never been to a national championship. We need to go this year.
Yeah,
I'm kind of itching.
You really want to see what that's like, don't you?
I do.
Well, we've been 6 times out of the last 9 years that have been possible to have a national championship. So
beautiful.
We've been there a bunch. I think we need to play better once we get there. I think we have the potential to. But anyway, we don't know what this year is going to look like. I'm real excited to walk through it with you and Jeremy, and we'll get started next week. And just thanks for saying yes. I'm looking forward to it, Kyle.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited.
Absolutely.